There's a couple of things I'm going to say before describing how step one works. And one is a definition of something we call the power line. That is a line that runs directly from the tips of your toes straight to the target that you'll be throwing at. Once we get to using a ball, the ball will come down on the backside directly on top of the power line, and then it will proceed towards the target directly on the power line. The other thing is that I'll be referring to right feet and left feet and right hand and left hand and so on. This all refers to a right-handed pitcher. And so if you're instructing a left-handed pitcher, you're going to need to reverse everything. The first 17 steps of the pitching magic process do not use a ball, and the first 4 steps do not use the arm. What we're doing is we're focusing on the lower half of the body to begin with, which is a very, very important concept that young pitchers need to understand, that all of your power, or much of your power, comes from the lower half of your body. So step 1 is called the weight transfer, where basically we're moving the weight from the right foot and the right hip onto the left foot and the left hip. So what you do is you line your toes up on the power line with your feet at a 45-degree angle to the line. Stand with your feet just a little more than shoulder width apart. Both knees should be slightly flexed, and the angle of the right thigh should be straight up and down, maybe even leaning backwards just a little bit. Most of the weight will be on the right foot. The heel of the left foot will be slightly off the ground. Extend the ankle of the right foot to slide the weight forward to the left foot. The heel of the left foot comes down as the right ankle extends, and you wind up on your right side, up on your right toe. As the heel of the left foot comes down, straighten the left knee. There are several important things here that need to happen. First of all, the angle of the shoulders and the hips must be the same as each other, 45 degrees from the power line all the way through this step. It's very important to keep your shoulders and hips aligned in every step, because you don't want to be twisting your body, putting pressure on your back. One thing to look out for as you're instructing pitchers is that quite often pitchers will turn their shoulders towards the batter before they turn their hips. Over time, this can lead to injuries. In a weekend tournament series where you're pitching 4 to 8 games, it will also add to fatigue. Another key concept is that the weight must always be centered above the right knee. As the right knee moves forward due to the ankle extension and some flexing of the right knee, the head moves the same distance forward. One thing you can watch for to make sure that this is happening correctly is that the angle of the upper leg does not change at all. It is always straight up and down or slightly leaning back. Now we'll take a closer look at some of our demonstrators and see how well they are doing. When pitching, you want to generate a lot of power directly towards your target, and then be able to stop that forward motion quickly so that you can transfer all the energy that's in your body into your arm and your elbow and your hand. Now, if you take a look at the first demonstrator here, what she is doing is she is coming down on her left foot heel first instead of toe first. It is much more difficult to stop that forward momentum when your heel is hitting the ground first as opposed to when your toe is hitting the ground first. If we take a look at our 10th grader, you can see that even on a slippery floor, she's able to generate a lot of power and then also be able to stop that so that her hand comes whipping through the zone. The next demonstrator gets her weight too far forward in terms of her balance point is across her left foot instead of remaining across her right knee. This is a very, very common problem for pitchers, and not just beginning pitchers, but there's many high school pitchers that have this problem, which is called leaning forward, or goes by a variety of other names. And this has the same impact in that you're not able to stop your forward momentum well enough to be able to create the whip. The next demonstrator has her hips and shoulders facing the batter too much at the time when, if she were throwing the ball, she would be releasing it. You would like the hips and shoulders, and again, they need to remain right on top of each other through the entire pitching motion. You would like them at about a 45-degree angle, which is one of the reasons that we started at the 45-degree angle with the feet. We will talk much more in depth about that angle being optimal when we start working with the arm. But as you can see, I jumped ahead to grab a clip from step 28 with one of our demonstrators, and you can see she's throwing across the front of her body as opposed to facing the batter and pulling the ball through. The last demonstrator gets a little bit of extra credit, as you can very subtly see that she uses her right leg to push, and as she's doing that, her left hip kind of pops out forward and gets a little bit in front of her shoulders. That is a very powerful position for starting your throw, and that's one of the reasons that in the summer when we were taking these videos, this was the summer before she was going into 4th grade, she was able to reach 47 miles an hour. So that's it for step 1. In step 2, we will allow the lower body to close at the